Thank you so much for joining me for your July 8th weekly forecast. 5 retrogrades, eclipse season. Guys, ooh, sometimes you just want to hide, dive under something. Today I was just thinking I just want to run. I just want to run and maybe just hide for the next couple weeks. As ridiculous as that sounds, that's how we're feeling. It's pretty heavy, it's intense, it's making us a lot more irritable. And I think in a lot of ways we're just hitting a lot of limits. They were already there, but it's really bringing it to the surface. So everyone I advise, spend a little bit more time in contemplation. Journal it out. You know that saying, think twice, speak once. I would say think 3 times, speak once, because we're in a very reactive stage. So instead of responding from a place of consciousness, we're going to be reacting from a place of fear, default, trauma, ego. And that's not really where we want to. And it's okay if you do. If you have those moments, we're human. But do your best to kind of just take a deep breath. Be with yourself. Where is this coming from? You're like, well, that person. I'm like, is it? Or is it an old trigger? Had this been here before? So this is a really beautiful week to recenter and balance, align with yourself, and do your best to stay consistent. Don't fall off the wagon. If you've been doing good going to the gym, go to the gym. Just work hard on your projects. If you've been starting meditation, now you're not feeling it, this is the time to really use those tools and to stick with it. You guys, we're going to get through this. We're all together. So I'm just pulling cards this upcoming week for July 8th as a general reading just to see what it holds for all of us. Let's see. And the weekend. Okay, guys. This is great. Queen of Michael. Queen of Swords, 8 of Gabriel, which is traditionally 8 of Wands, and the Solutions card, the Major Arcana. Honestly, this week, guys, as emotional as we're being, as the Queen of Michael comes in, it's really more about us focusing on the mental versus the emotional. And this is what's really going to help us. Being logical, being analytical, and being more focused on our endeavors, our goals, our career than we are in our emotional life. That doesn't mean our emotional life doesn't matter. Not at all. They just understand with these energies that we might be adding more fire, more what is it? Spark? What is it? I always mess up these sayings. Fanning the fire. We just might make it worse than actually help us. So you know what? They know that you know what you have to do. You have to get out of bed. You have to brush your teeth. You have to, make the kids lunch. You have to get to work. Stick with the basics. Don't focus on next week. Don't take action. When we're in retrogrades, that is not a time, especially Mercury retrograde. These are not a time to make decisions. Not a time to sign contracts. I mean, what's crazy is that when we're in this energy, we're so fired up, we want to. But that's just the reason why we shouldn't, because we're in a reactionary place. It's coming up, right? It's coming up. So look, you know what to do. Be brilliant. Be self-reliant this week. Do what you need to do. Make yourself feel better. Whether it's get that more sleep, drink more water, take that bath, and just focus on the to-do list. Focus as best you can on the action steps you have to take, whether that's writing that book, making sure you book a session with your therapist or life coach, or taking that 10 minutes a day to meditate, because that puts you into a balanced space. Now we have the 8 of Gabriel. This is telling me, guys, despite these retrogrades and despite these eclipses, things aren't going to slow down. The earth is going to continue to rotate, and we're still going to have to do the same things. So look at, there's going to be a lot of activity this week, and there's going to be a lot of results. So it's always best to don't get too complicated. Let's stick with the basics, right? We don't want to try to do more when we feel like this and then make a big old, out of it. Make more trouble or more issues. Doesn't mean you will, but sometimes when we're from this space, we're like, I'm going to do this to make myself feel better. I'm going to do that. Let's slow it down a little bit. Let's just focus on the needs to, has to be, and that's it. If you really do feel you have the time and the space to do more, that's fantastic. But make sure it's coming from a place of balance, of peace, and from your heart. Not out of retaliation, not to prove something to anyone or anything, not to make yourself feel better as a temporary band-aid. You want to do it from a place of it makes sense, logic, and centeredness. Anything else, just leave it. Go to bed early, put on a funny show, more time for the self. Now, by the weekend, we have the Solutions card. This is a Major Arcana card. Guys, they're saying everything's going to be okay. Everything you're working towards, whether it's work, relationships, or health, it's going to be successful. However, it will only be successful through compromise. It's only going to be successful if you're objective. Because if you're all fired up emotionally, whether that's anger, frustration, irritation, I've had enough, whatever it is, it's going to make things combust. They're saying, look at, in this world, when you're working with people, whether it's in a romantic relationship, family, work colleagues, partners, friends, there needs to be a balance. It's not your way or the highway. And of course, I'm not saying to, see my dog, he's so cute. I'm not saying to compromise on non-negotiables like self-respect and healthy boundaries. I'm talking about how realistic are you being? Because sometimes when we're sad or angry or frustrated, while that we have valid points, in the long scheme, relationships are the best, right? We might say, well, I want a partner who's always going to make me happy. Okay, I get it. Wanting to have a partner that's respectful and loving and brings out the best in you, awesome. A partner that's always going to make you happy doesn't exist. You don't even make yourself happy all the time. And that's not their job either. So don't act out of these places of saying, look, you need to have self-control and patience this week. And trust me, I'll have a lot of fire in my chart. I'm not my strongest suit, but they're saying, look, you need to be able to forgive people this week because everyone's feeling it. So people are snappy or irritable. It's not just them, you are too. Heal, forgive what's forgivable. We're all human, we're all going through it, we're all learning. Find a middle ground. Like I said, retrogrades are not times to make hardcore decisions. So you want to find a nice balance, and this is a learning curve for you too. So let's do our best to be objective and analytical and as logical as possible. Focus on the need tos. Don't do more and don't get on yourself like, oh, I feel guilty because I'm sitting on the couch. I should be productive. No. Nurture yourself. Lay under the stars. Have tea in the morning. Meditate or coffee. Meditate. Read that book. Do what brings you joy. If that's gardening, if that's, sitting in nature, hiking, dancing, whatever it is, make room for joy this week. But if you find that in those down times you're just spiraling out a little bit, it is best for you to be proactive with like journaling, talking to a trusted friend or therapist, tapping, emotional freedom technique, moving through the trauma and the emotional release. Be proactive that way. We're using our tools. We have to use our tools this week. Everything you've learned, whether it's breath work, yoga, mantras, tapping, meditation, color therapy, sound therapy, gongs, whatever it is. Now we're really being asked to step up and step into it because we know better now. We know what we can do to help us, even if that's going for a good run or maybe that's just saying a prayer and just going to sleep. Whatever it is, don't judge it. It's a beautiful week, a very active week. And it's actually, when we come from this space, we're going to move along a lot quicker. We think, well, no, I got to figure this out. Not really. Step back. And sometimes when you don't add to it, it unfolds itself. When you're trying to, feel like a knot and you get it more knotted, kind of like that. It's going to be a good week, guys. You're going to have a very successful outcome. You're going to find a good compromise because you came from an objective standpoint. You took accountability, you're able to forgive, and yourself included, and finding a beautiful outcome. This is going to be a beautiful week. For anybody looking for a psychic session, a life coaching or a healing session, my link is down below. Otherwise, have a beautiful week, guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care.